Welcome to another video on this VVT build series. Today is the day that we finally will put the engine back in the car. First, I will put it on the crane, then install the flywheel, the clutch, the gearbox, and by the end of the video, the engine will go back inside the car. Stay tuned. The gearbox that I will use, it's the same that I had on my car. It's a 5-speed manual, of course, and as you can see, here inside, she is full of dirt. I will start by cleaning all this mess, cleaning the outside a little bit, and then I will replace the seals, the bearing, and have it ready to be attached to the new engine. With the gearbox washed and dried, we can now replace the seals both on front and on the back. To do this, I will start with the front. We need to remove the rubber boot, then the fork, the release bearing, and then these 6 bolts here inside that allow us to remove this protective plate. Now, just be careful not to lose this spacer here. Here we have the seal that we need to remove. Take a large flat screwdriver, push it here and give it a tap and it will pop right off. You can see that the face where the seal sits, it's not damaged at all. At this point we can take our new seal. I will use a genuine seal from Mazda. I will just lube it all around outside with the socket number 32. That will be the exact size for the seal. You want to place the seal right on place. Just push it by hand. And now you just need to place the socket in here and tap it. Now inspect it with your fingers, see if it is all seated all around. And it seems to be that the seal is correct seated all around, so it's ready to be installed. Having all the surface really clean, I applied a drop of thread locker on each one of the bolts, and I am now ready to install the seal carrier on the gearbox. So I will put a little bit of this grease on the inside of the seal and also on the edge to have this spacer fixed in place. Then I will use a brand new gasket, again a Mazda genuine part. So you find the position here, and now we can push the assembly in place. And now we can torque them to 25 Newton meters. We can now clean and inspect the fork right in here, where it makes contact, and see if it has some extended damage. I cannot spot any. And you can apply some grease also in here. Just a little bit, you don't need to put too much. Also on the sphere here. And of course you can put here on the spring where all that will pivot. Now, with the rubber already installed in place, you just need to slide the new release bearing in place like this and insert it in place. Now just put the bearing in place and you need to click here in the sphere in order to get a nice movement. The front is ready. On the rear, we just need to take the seal off. It's really easy. It has this metallic lip that you can put the flat screwdriver and hit it to pop it out. Really easy. Now you give a good wipe inside. Again, for this one, I will use a genuine part for Mazda, a genuine seal. You will apply a small bead of sealant all around the lip here. You can start it by hand. And now, if you have a socket big enough, you can push on the metallic part. If not, you can use a socket extension and hitting just the metal part, you can push it in. Slowly around. And the gearbox is ready to be installed on the engine to go back in the car. The flywheel, it's ready to go. We just need to replace the pilot bearing. New pilot bearing installed. At this point, we have the engine on the stand, so we can start to assemble all the stuff. Let's start with the flex plate. That there's nothing to be wrong. It has some guides here, and then don't forget to put the dipstick. With the dipstick, we need to have our ground cord. Now that we have the flex plate bolted and the dipstick bolted here with the ground strap on it, we can go and mount the flywheel. To bolt in the flywheel, I will use new original bolts. Let's now align it and bolt it in place. The 6 bolts can now be torqued to 100 Newton meter. To torque the bolts, because the engine is free, it's really hard to torque them. So I lower the engine, I just put a crossbar here between these points and the bolt, and now I can torque. And I have them all torqued now. Now that we have the flywheel in place, we can throw in the clutch. If you check, the clutch has always a flat part and one that came out a little bit. The flat part, it's always facing the engine. So with an alignment tool, just put it through the pilot bearing, like this. The gearbox will not align properly if you don't have one of those alignment tools. Be sure that you put the pressure plate in the pins on the flywheel. Now. Okay, now we can start to put the bolts. I will just start them all around. Now here the idea is to bolt them in a cross pattern, making sure that you don't bolt them all in one side and leave the other. So we will do it like we tight one, miss one, tight one, miss one, tight one. I will do it in 3 stages until I reach the desired torque. I want to torque this to 23 Newton meters. So I will snug them first by hand just a little bit, and then I will do 2 passes with the different torques. Now that they are snug against the plates, I will torque them first to 50 Newton meters and then a final pass on 23. I will just use my method with the bolt here to try to be able to torque it without rotating the engine. Now let's torque it to 23 Newton meter as it's supposed to be the final torque setting. Now with the clutch torqued in place, we can remove our center tool. As you see, it is really loose. You saw what I did. I was wiggling a little bit to make sure that the clutch disc, it would be centered in a way that this can go in and out really easy. Now that we have the gearbox ready, let's try to put it in there. At this point, we can put the starter engine in place. So let's align it here. They can now be torqued to spec between 38 and 51 Newton meter. Next, I will bolt in the slave cylinder for the clutch. This will go in here. And now I will also torque the bolts from the slave cylinder to 20 Newton meters. And the slave cylinder, it's ready to go. Let's get the engine in the car. And the engine is in. For the moment, I will just put the nut on the engine mount, but I will not tighten them because I want to level the engine and put the PPF, and then we can tighten the engine mounts. Now here I have already pushed the wire for the speed sensor through the hole. Now I will just lift the rear of the gearbox and push the PPF on place. We will need to check the height from the PPF. It must be between 60 and 71 millimeters, but I will just pass the bolts through and then we check the dimension and then we torque them in place. Now we can check the dimension, and remember, we need to use a straight bar from rail to rail and measure to the bottom of the PPF. It should be between 60 and 71. In my case, I am in 64 millimeters, so right in the middle of the spec. I am fine with this in here, so I can torque the bolts right now in the front and in the back. The bolts for the power plant frame should be torqued between 104 and 123 Newton meters, I believe. So I will torque them to 110. Now I will install the shaft. So we need to slide it in first in the gearbox side. And now just bring it here and bolt it in place. As you can see, the engine is finally in the car. I am already test fitting the turbo, and the downpipe is a really tight fit, but it's possible, it will be okay. The PPF is already bolted and torqued in place, and it is aligned, as you saw on the video. The drive shaft is also tight and torqued, and now I will check. I am testing here the radiator. It will be a new one. This one is damaged. But for the fitting purpose it is okay, because I have now to test and to try the intercooler that it's already bolted in place, and I need to do all the routing for the pipes for the intercooler. This was the video for today. I really hope you enjoy it and it can be useful for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications so you don't lose any of the new content. Follow me also on the social networks, on Facebook and special on Instagram, where I post regular updates between the videos. See you on the next one. Bye!